Are you a professional pillow fighter? Or a 9-to-5 low-cost time travel agent? Or maybe real estate sales on Mars is your profession? It doesn't matter. Whatever it is you do, however complex or intricate, Monday.com can help you organize, orchestrate, and make it more efficient. Monday.com is the one centralized platform for everything work-related. And with Monday.com, work is just easier. Monday.com, for whatever you run. Go to Monday.com to learn more.
Regen auf mein Kopf. Hinter der Deckel muss es die kleine Fahrt beim Top. Geht mir kein Sach nicht, die Trop.
Welcome to Kill Me Now with Judy Gold. I am your host, Judy Gold, and what a treat this week. And it's very a serendipitous time. I said serendipitous to have our guest, Elizabeth A. Davis, Tony-nominated actress who was in the Broadway musical Once. Isn't this a coincidence? She will be starring in the revival on Broadway of 1776. And yesterday was July 4th, Independence Day. Isn't that crazy the way that worked out? I just really have the luck. She's fascinating. She's wonderful, and we have a lot of friends in common. So I think you're gonna really enjoy this interview. Hopefully, as much as I did. FYI, if you're on the Cape, I am performing tomorrow night and tonight, Tuesday and Wednesday, at the Art House at 7:30. So sit back, relax. I realized where I got sit back, relax, and enjoy. It's from every fucking flight I have taken, because I took a flight today and I realized that they said sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight, which doesn't happen, especially when there's a baby screaming behind you. But I want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy. Kill Me Now, Judy Gold. This is a very special episode of Kill Me Now because I literally slept in a sleeping clinic last night because I snore. And my lover, Elisa, can't take it anymore. Neither can I, because it's like that, a lot of that. I came home and took a nap because our guest today, not only interesting, uber talented, I'm going to go with like beyond attractive, like annoyingly attractive.
What?
Then plus the smart, plus the musician. It's a quadruple sextuplet threat.
I just wish it meant that I made more money. No?
Sister, that is in therapy every week. And I know we share a work ethic. Listening to you speak about your work, the idea of integrity and due diligence. Like this podcast for me is it's out of love. I don't make any money from that. It's a labor of love. But the word labor, I think, is what a lot of people don't realize.
Yeah.
That is the most important thing. Yes. And now before we begin, and I mention your name, even though we've already begun, we've only just begun.
I'll find your key. I'll find
to live widely sin. Okay.
How dare you say you're not a singer? Look at you.
Oh, yeah. I just want to say our guest today, Tony nominated, Drama Desk nominated. I was also Drama Desk nominated, but I knew I lost because I was in row S for sorry. Yeah. So Elizabeth A. Davis, also Elizabeth Ann Davis, but we call her Elizabeth A. Davis, who is a Broadway. Okay. I don't even know how to say this. Okay. She's a Broadway performer, an off-Broadway performer, a writer, a musician, a creator of art. Really fascinating life. So everybody, Elizabeth A. Davis is with us tonight, and you're going to see her on Broadway very soon.
We'll see what happens. It's supposed to happen, but at this, does anyone act?
Oh, please.
Yeah, it's supposed to happen, Judy. I trust that it will happen, but
I am poo all the time because you're like me in that way too. I mean, you just don't know. And I mean, we're going to talk about the COVID situation later because your story about COVID is fascinating. But, right before COVID, I was cast in a Broadway, my first serious Broadway show. I was finally cast. I've done a lot of off Broadway. And so I was finally cast in this show, and Elisa, my lover, she
LOVAH.
Yes. Oh my God, you're so smart. Okay, yes, lover. I literally am sitting at my desk. It's like March, whatever, that whole horrible time period. And she says to me, I got you a present. And she goes to the bedroom. And then as she's walking back from the bedroom, my agent calls to tell me COVID not happening. They say on hold, and then it's like on never. And she literally has in her hand a pillow that she had made that said Broadway bound Judy.
I hate everything.
So that's my COVID story. But okay. But you have a better one. So Elizabeth A. Davis, we're going to start at the very beginning. You were born in Duma, Texas, but you were raised in Channing, Texas, which has a population of 363 people. That's 363 people, folks.
Total.
That's like the capacity at Caroline's on Broadway Comedy Club.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I grew up driving an hour to get groceries every week.
What? Did you have like ice packs? Because when Elisa and I go to the grocery store, and it's literally in Provincetown, and it's literally 2 seconds away, and she's like, oh my God, the frozen fruit. I'm like, we're going like 10 feet. Okay. All right. But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So we have a light. We have a light at the main intersection of town, but it doesn't stop you. It just blinks. Yeah. So my mother grew up on a farm about 15 miles from this town. My father grew up about 2 hours from this town. And my parents are still there. It's the house I grew up in. So it feels impassable. And it's all I ever knew. And it's
so fascinating because it's sort of like towns like that are in movies, are fantasy. Your mom, by the way, Melody, your dad, Frank, you have a brother, Jonathan, and your dad was the superintendent of the schools, correct?
Also, Judy, while my father was the superintendent, he also had a bus route. We have the longest bus routes in the entire state of Texas because kids live so far out on the ranches.
Right.
That's been like 40 miles out of town on a ranch. So Frank Davis would like drive his bus and pick up the kids and then come superintend and then direct the play. And so I think that, the work ethic piece or the sense of labor, there was always something to do. People are like, weren't you bored? No, I was not bored. If you were bored, go out and dig a hole.
That's so interesting because I was just talking about this. When people say, weren't you bored? I don't think kids today know how to be bored. I think since the invention of of social media and the phone, the kids are not comfortable with being bored. And it is boredom that makes the best art, that creates the best inventions, right? And so your nearest neighbor was how far? How much?
We lived in town.
Okay. How many people lived in town?
The 363.
All of the 363. Yeah.
No, this is a great story. One day, someone got mad at my dad and my mom, and I think I was at college or something. And so my brother was there. So they went around to all 4 population signs of Channing and put over it a sign that said Davisville population 3. Isn't that great? So I was like, well, I guess I'm not a part of the family.
Yeah, you moved out. You're done.
We don't even consider you anymore.
Right.
So just to show the level of we just did everything. We did everything.
Right. And you took care of one another. I mean, these communities.
Oh my gosh.
It's like a kibbutz. It's like a kibbutz a little bit. So
yes.
Your mother, I read, she got a master's degree. Your mother was a speech coach and a teacher, and she got a master's in speech communication when you were 2. Is that correct?
So I did grow up that both of my parents were getting their higher education degrees. We would drive back and forth. Now, Canyon, that was an hour and a half. Yes, we would have Schwans. Is this a thing people? No one knows this.
What's Schwans?
Schwan truck, where
no.
We live in these tiny towns, and a man in a truck with frozen food in the back would drive and stop at
and ring a bell. Yes.
And would deliver frozen food. So we would have the Schwan man chicken sticks while Mama went to do this and Daddy went to do getting their degrees. So that sense of like continuing education, always being curious, and just a sense of like there was more in the world than 363 and Davisville population 3.
Do you have a production company? Because you have to name it 363 Productions.
We don't have that yet. We should.
Yes, you have to name it 363 or Davisville 3 Productions. Okay, so going back, how many people were in? Did you go to preschool? Did you go to kindergarten? Or no?
Melody Davis wanted to teach Elizabeth to read, so so we did school until I was 5, and then after 5, then I went to school.
So you were like homeschooled by Melody. Was Jonathan as well?
He was 6. I was 6.5 before he came along.
Oh, okay.
So I have very strong only child vibes.
Yes.
Like strong firstborn daughter vibes.
Yeah.
That my husband has feelings about it, and so. I'm like, I'm not an only child. Anyway, so she's like, no, I'm going to teach you to read. And then you're going to go to school. And
you started in first grade then. And how many kids were in your class?
Well, by the time I graduated, there were 10 of us, which meant.
Wow.
Which meant that because Frank was a superintendent, he had to write a letter.
I love that you call them Frank and Melody. Okay. My kids do that to me and it's so annoying. Go ahead.
They'll have to forgive me. So I was not in the top 10% of my class, Judy.
What?
I was salutatorian, but I was not in the
top. You were number 2.
I was Jana Gates. God bless.
Oh, fuck Jana. Look at Jana now. What is Jana doing now?
Lovely. Judy, she's lovely.
Okay. Does she live in Channing?
She does not. She does not. But I'm not sure where she lives. She lives.
I feel so bad for number 10.
Yeah.
Were you friends with number 10? I know you're friends with everyone.
But I did. My high school boyfriend, Daniel Wall,
Was he in your class?
No, he was the grade above. Of course he was.
Okay. What number was he?
3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We should put him to, we won't discuss him.
Okay. We're not going to discuss him, but I'm just okay, go ahead.
So I constituted percentage 11 to 21, math, whatever.
Right.
The entire 80th percentile was me, all 10 points of it. So my father had to write a letter to my school and say, this is why she's not in the top 10% of her class, even though her GPA was like 98.6 or something,
If you were Jewish yes. and you came home as number 2, what? You're number 2, who's number 1? I mean, it would have been
right.
Forget it. But Jana, Godspeed.
Listen, my family wishes we were Jewish. This is not a lie. And I think most people in Channing, Texas and the surrounding areas wish they were too.
No way. I think everyone in Texas hates us.
No. Okay, no. This is
really?
No, we are Protestants.
Okay. Got you.
You are chosen, Judy. So we wish we were chosen, and we're not.
But that curiosity is very Jewish, that know everything and keep learning and learning. That's also a very Jewish kind of thing. So you are Jewish. And have you had your DNA done?
No,
You never know.
but let me tell, I often play Eastern European.
I know. And once you played a Czech.
I did. But I recently lost a job, 5-arc TV because I didn't have living relatives in Eastern Europe. I was like, I've got all the Western Europe folks, but I haven't done my DNA. So I don't know.
Wait, you lost a job because of your ancestry?
My wonderful, perfect agent was mortified.
Jewish? Is your agent Jewish? Yes. Okay. Thank you.
And he was mortified that he had to even ask. But we were asked. So if I had living relatives in Eastern Europe, so it's Serbian. Whatever. It could have been, Judy. I could have not got the job because I was not good enough.
No, sorry.
Someone might have been better.
No.
But I'm sure that if someone had Serbian relatives, it would have put them right. So
right.
Bonus. Great. She's right, and she's Serbian.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with a Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Can you name right now all 10 people in your high school class?
Okay.
You can do first names if you want. Okay, go.
My best friend left, and I'm we had TJ, Ryan, Kristen, Tava, Jessica. Did I already say Jana?
No.
Oh, Shirley?
Who?
Shirley. Vincent.
Shirley is such an older woman's name. I love that. Okay.
And Cy Brown.
Yeah, Cy.
Cy.
So there were 3 boys?
Well, this is why I had the boyfriend in a grade above, because there were very slim pickings.
I know, but this is why you're so strong too. Like, you're the eldest, you went to school with other smart girls. No?
We did not suffer. There was no suffering of foolishness.
Right. So what was your school like? Was it like those shows where you have a little schoolhouse and there's one room and what was it like?
It wasn't one room, but it was one building. And then there was the math building was adjacent and the home economics building was adjacent.
Can you believe that we had to take home economics? I mean, you're way younger than me. The girls had to take home economics and I wanted to take shop.
Well, we did get to I took woodworking.
Yeah.
Home economics. So my husband took home. He was in Dallas. I'm like,
oh, please,
you're a city boy. I can't.
Yeah.
I don't know how to chop wood. And so he actually took home economics as well. And he does know how to brown meat very well.
That's amazing. That's great. We had I remember in 3rd grade, they taught us how to answer the telephone. Yeah, I remember I was so excited because I wanted to be and you had to say, hello, Gold residents. This is Judith. How, something. I forgot what it was. I forgot to do that. Times were much simpler, but did you change classrooms every year? Like it was like the 1st grade's here, the 2nd grade's here, the 3rd grade's here?
Yes. My gosh. Mr. Crawford, Mrs. Crawford. I do remember Mr. Crawford got mad at Tava and picked.
I love that name, Tava.
Tava Deathridge. And she picked up, horrible things. Horrible things happened. But, it was.
She picked her up?
Mr. Crawford picked Tava up, one hand with her in the chair, the other hand, the desk, and removed her. These things that stick with you when you're in 4th grade. But
yeah.
Things happened. Mr. Knowles was fired for pissing off the water tower while drunk.
Oh, wow.
That's definitely in a play that I've written. So testing the barometric pressure, had to go piss off the water tower.
So did you have extracurricular activities?
Every single one, Judy. Basketball, cross country, track. I was a cheerleader. I got it.
You were a cheerleader for like 3 people. You couldn't have a team, could you?
The reason I had to be a cheerleader was because there were not enough girls. I played basketball. I was the point guard. I also got a technical foul as a point guard for punching a girl in the tits.
Why? What did she do?
She had elbowed me in the neck. No one.
Fuck her. Fuck her. And they didn't call a foul?
Exactly. So I had to say this. I will be judicious about this. Clearly,
right.
I will take care of the judiciousness of the issue. So, and so then after we would play ball and scream and holler, and I would try to shoot 3-point shots, I would then be a sweaty mess into my cheerleading outfit and then further scream at the refs. And, I just, my entire cheer style was, get up! Like just.
But how many people were on your teams? Like, were you playing other schools that were tiny or?
Adrian, Vega, Hartley. Oh.
Did everyone know everyone's business?
I think.
Right?
I think so. I know that Daniel cheated on me with my second cousin and drove to groom in the middle of the night. And then he also cheated on me with this girl named Johanna from Finland, who I've also written into a play.
Yes, Johanna
from Finland. Maybe that's why I've gone wait, is Finland? What is Finland considered? It's not Eastern Europe. No, what am I doing? What is she? She's Finnish. She's Finnish.
She's Finnish.
I'm done with her.
Over.
Okay. So, so I did know that. I didn't. Oh, he also cheated on me with Tabitha Grant. So.
She's a bitch. I hate her.
I can't even.
Anyone with the name Tabitha, I'm sorry if you're listening and your name is Tabitha, your parents made a big mistake. Go ahead.
So what I'm saying is, Lona Rogers too.
Lona.
So I didn't know anyone's business, but clearly he knew everyone's business.
Right. So you did all this stuff. Did they have theater? Because I know your parents were both into the arts.
I have to say, my parents remain heroes to me. They took these kids off of these, that would have otherwise had relative to no exposure to theater. And they did, my mother did sophisticated productions. Mystery of the Ming Tree I think.
Wow.
It was an oasis. And we still have students that come back and tell them such, so it was really extraordinary to watch. This is for me where theater and I guess the arts combined with service really took hold. The ability to say, we can do 2 things at once here. We art, and we can also try to change people's lives for the better. And I really admire that to this day about them.
Did you have a prom? Did you have?
Oh, yes.
You did?
My gosh, I haven't talked to this man in 20 years, but he's getting some airtime. Daniel made a homemade, have you seen these huge, the mums?
Yeah. Yeah.
So just the huge, it looks like you have, an additional set of bosoms.
Right. Which I do have now that I'm turning a very old age in November. Go ahead.
I had a boob job fund in high school, speaking of.
Really?
Well, it was very in at that point to have boobs.
Right.
And I didn't. I don't. So I thought, but now I've settled in. I've settled into the.
You gotta love yourself because that's all you got. I can't. I'm still fascinated by this tiny little town. Was there any sort of drama? Were there drugs? You think about all the stuff, kids in high school, mental illness. Did you have a guidance counselor? Or was everyone 4 or 5 different things in the town?
It was so protected, Judy. We did not have, I guess, the internet. Oh my gosh. I didn't have a phone. There was no media. We went out to the dirt track and threw rocks, deeply provincial. And people filled I happened to have a friend group that all 10 of us, that just decided to fill our time with reading poetry and
Right.
and
Was anyone bullied?
I'm sure they were, and it was probably me doing it.
Ugh, you're horrible. Okay.
I don't think so. Kindness has always been
Right.
important, but I did. Oh, speaking of the prom, I don't think the word bully is correct, but I know that Kristen wanted to have the theme for the prom "Truly, Madly, Deeply" off of. Do you know that song?
Yeah.
That song? I have no idea. And I was like, no, we're gonna have "Your Heart Will Go On." It's a big regret.
Do you feel like, so you were a little bit of the mean girl?
It is possible.
Yes. So I might have to get Tiva or whatever her name is, and Jana Tava. I need to get them on. You went to Baylor, you got a Bachelor of Fine Arts, and then you got a Master of Fine Arts at Case Western Reserve Cleveland Playhouse. Now, you started playing the violin at the age of 3, I read. Is that correct?
That's true.
Yes.
My parents took me to see the Nutcracker, and at intermission, Daddy took me down to see the orchestra. And I distinctly, like core memory, I was 3. And I remember driving back to Channing in the Cougar, the gold Cougar, looking out the back and crying because I wanted to play the violin, which was good because I was going to have to play an instrument anyway. I wasn't going to.
Right.
A good thing I wanted to.
Who taught you?
Mrs. Gibbons and Don Hart. And there was somebody else in there. Oh gosh. My parents didn't play,
Right. And did you practice a lot? I mean, see, that's no.
No, of course.
Yeah, because that's the same thing with me. I wasn't popular. And when I was sitting around the house, I'm like, I'll go practice the piano. You practiced.
My mother, who hopefully you can tell, I'm obsessed with both my parents and I love them very much, but I do have this very scarring picture of I was bawling because I didn't want to play the violin or take my lesson, have my lesson, whatever. My mother took a picture and said, "This is what you look like. Why do you want to look like this?"
Wow.
Little bit of tough love that I really.
Yeah, well, it's good. You got to see yourself. And meanwhile, Jonathan is just not just a pain in the ass.
Jonathan has revealed to me that while that kid was sneaking out of the house before I'm like, how did
just the complete opposite of you.
Popular kid, the kid who, had fun. And I'm like, what is fun? I don't know what fun is.
Right. Very serious. Now, you go to Baylor, you date someone your sophomore year.
Oh my gosh, was that Brian Matthews? No.
You dated someone briefly your sophomore year who you met up with later, but we'll get to that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right.
Yes. And you are at this big school. What was the transition like? And you couldn't be the mean girl, could you?
I think that I'm being hard on myself by calling myself the mean girl.
Okay. All right. But you went from this tiny little town to this big college. I mean, that must have been amazing. And did you watch a lot of TV? Were you?
No.
You must have dreamed a lot. What's the did you dream I'm getting out of here and I'm gonna?
I didn't watch TV because I believe who is it Betty? It wasn't Betty White. Who said TV is for being on, not for watching? Who said that? It was some Betty White type.
Right.
And I'm sure obviously misguided a bit, but no, I was way too busy to watch TV. I was way too busy. Going back to your work ethic, my great-grandfather came to Ellis Island. He brought Hereford cattle to the Panhandle of Texas. And there's just this sense of I'm standing on the shoulders of people that have sacrificed immensely for me. What are you going to do with that?
Right. And
I've taken that very seriously my whole life.
And that's your work ethic. I've heard you say, know the history, know where you came from, know who came before you. Okay. So you're at Baylor, you're in this BFA program. There must have been kids from all over the country, different backgrounds. Were you shell shocked or
Sure. I'm sure I was. I remember seeing Bill Simone's Extremities. There was a workshop of that, and I was, oh my gosh, I thought, how this is horrible. I can't be watching this. I can't be hearing this. I can't be an actor. And yes, I was shell-shocked.
Were the kids that were in your program, did any of them become very successful at the Baylor program?
Do you know the name Allison Tolman?
Yeah.
Allison Tolman, who has helped me develop a play that I wrote about Channing, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so proud of her, and to her just soar and fly. And whenever she booked Fargo, the day she had her audition in New York, I took her, she took me, I don't know, but we went and ate at Ted's Montana Grill after that audition. And I remember, like, they're not going to cast me. There's no way they're going to cast me.
Right.
That was the beginning.
That was it. This week's episode of It's Judy Show with Judy Gold is sponsored by BetterHelp. And if you know me, which I think you do because you're listening to my podcast right now, you know that I am a big advocate for therapy. I think it benefits everyone. I think there's so many people who need it, who don't partake. It is so important for your emotional health and well-being. Therapy is fantastic. It is in every stretch of the imagination. And if you're thinking of starting therapy, please do it. But please give BetterHelp a try. It is entirely online. It's designed to be convenient. It's flexible. It suits your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. I have switched therapists in my life. I've had many, many therapists, and you know, sometimes it's not a great fit for you, but don't give up. Therapy is beneficial. You can learn about yourself, you can process, and just be emotionally healthy. I'm telling you, do it. BetterHelp is great because, you know, when I used to schlep to my therapist's office, it was so annoying. You have to do it, and you sit there and you wait, and then I'm telling you, doing it online is fantastic. And BetterHelp is amazing. I know a lot of people who've used it. So if you're thinking about therapy, go to BetterHelp.com. Let the gratitude flow. This is Gratitude Month, people. So you need to let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/JudyGold, JudyGold, today, and you will get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/JudyGold. You're welcome. So you then go on to get your MFA at Case Western, where you won the Young Alumni Award. And you really, at this point, put your violin down. You wanted to be a serious, you wanted serious acting. Never thought about musical theater.
No.
It was all never.
Never. I hated it. I didn't think I could really sing, even though I'd sung classically with my father, who had he had his degree in vocal performance.
Do you had a piano at home, or?
Yes, and my father and mother played.
Okay. You get an MFA, and you want to study this serious theater. So of course you come to New York City, because if you're going to be in theater, right. And you move to New York City, and are you successful? What are you doing? Are you just going on auditions? How do you get an agent? I mean, as a comic, I have to say, I feel lucky in a way that when I was starting, there were places for me to get on stage. There were so many places. It was the big boom in the 80s, but I could do a set at a happy hour anywhere, but for actors, it's so difficult.
I mean, this is where that's like hanging on by the thread, like the process of going from Channing, Texas to even like getting my graduate degree at Cleveland Playhouse. I never met a professional actor until I was in Cleveland. I had no idea. The thought that someone could do this in real life,
right?
No path. There was myself, a machete, and a forest. And So to answer your question, I had, let's see, I lived in the middle of Times Square at a,
Ugh.
exactly. I wore earplugs at night so I couldn't hear the rats running on the ground. I was working at a Starbucks from like 4:30 a.m. until 10:30 a.m. And then I had another job that started at 11 at J.W. Cooper in the Time Warner building where I was selling boots and buckles and belts. I was so stunned by the people coming in buying I'm like, you don't have a ranch. I know for sure you don't have
Right.
Anyway, so oh gosh, best little whorehouse in Texas. Oh gosh, her name is, oh my gosh, I'm so deeply embarrassed. Who wrote Best Little Whorehouse in Texas? Carol Hall.
Yeah.
Carol Hall's husband came in to buy a belt. And I was like, Carol Hall, I'm from Texas. That seed Carol Hall led me to, I think, Angelina Fiordalisi, who started the Cherry Lane Theater, who then led me to Bridget Wimberly, who read my solo play. And that belt.
That one little, you just don't know.
You don't know. You have no idea. And also, I do think that if you're not willing to weave and if you throw things away, you won't be able to do the weave.
Right.
But if you say everything is fodder, nothing in my life is unuseful.
Right.
Then there's a weave that can happen. And by
right.
Weave, you know what I mean? I mean, it's all part of the meal. Of the
yes.
Curiosity recipe.
Yes.
I was doing free theater. That's what I was doing. I got fired from J.W. Cooper for taking a gig that paid me zero money.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
I mean, it was a real highlight.
You get cast in Once. Now, Once was so fucking great. And by the way, I did a play and I am friends with Ann Nathan, who is a good friend of yours.
Please so.
I loved Ann Nathan.
She knows that I want to be Jewish. She knows. And then David,
right.
who's also in the original Once. We have a little trio where they're like, you're Protestant and we're Jewish. And there's like this mutual circle of.
I love her. You realize that you are in New York City, and you pick up the violin again. You realize that if you're going to get a job, it's in musical theater, but you never thought of yourself as a musical theater person. But you get here and you see, oh my God, I better get that muscle in shape.
Yeah, I wanted to do Shaw and Chekhov. I wanted to do Ionesco. I wanted to do Shakespeare every day. And then you're exactly right. It was like, wait a second. So I picked up the fiddle, and that was that. I picked up the fiddle, and we just had our 10-year Once reunion concert. I flew into the city for one day from here being in Boston, and I saw Ann Nathan, David Abeles. David Abeles was the COB. So he was devastating because I was like, oh my gosh, Ann and David. So it changed all of our lives, and how it's full circled for me was to say, this is how my aesthetic started, and to now be able to feel as if I'm beginning to understand what my creative language in the world is.
So Once, by the way, did you know that it was going to be this phenomenon? Because it was incredible. I mean, all the actors were musicians. I did Shakespeare in the Park with Anne, and we all played music. I played the clarinet in that, but she's such a good musician, Anne. And so you get this part. You're probably having mixed feelings because, it's a musical theater thing, but you had no idea it was going to be this huge hit.
It's crazy because I'm right in the exact same place. I'm literally 297 feet right now from the theater where we created Once. Because that's where we're doing 1776.
Is that Huntington Theater? No.
ART.
Oh, ART. Yes, but you've performed at the Huntington Theater.
I did Indecent there.
Decent, yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Paula Vogel. Oh my God, what a.
Over and over.
That is the. Go ahead.
Yes, I felt very privileged to be welcomed into that.
That's an amazing piece. Okay.
I'll say this: the director John Tiffany, Stephen Hyatt, choreographer, Enda Walsh, the writer, Martin Lowe, the music director. They are now my age now when they were creating it, and I can. My point in saying this is they knew who they were, they knew what they wanted to say, and they were not afraid to create what they wanted.
Right. You get to a certain age where you don't give a shit anymore.
Right. And so they were cusping into that place. And they I think Stephen and John were each other's first boyfriends in Scotland, or I can't remember what country.
Right.
Their aesthetic is so crisp that they know. So we did know, and we did have a sense that what we're creating, what we want to create. And there's something deeply powerful about saying, you can tell when something is so watered down that you've had 17 opinions. And it's
yes.
distinct.
Right.
The first time I grew up singing, right? The first time I ever belted in front of a live audience was on the bar in the Oberon here at ART. And it was terrifying. It remains a part of my voice that I am frightened of, but
you say I've heard you say, that sort of inner humiliation is what makes you a better artist.
To be embarrassed and to let to normalize that as a part of growth has been just an incredible teacher. Like I say, of course I can be embarrassed. There's 100,000 new ways to be embarrassed, I'm sure. But the ability to just say, I may be embarrassing myself right now, but what will I learn from it? That, to me, that ratio, the ratio of learning is higher, or the cost benefit analysis of learning is greater than the risk of embarrassment.
Right. And that comedians,
oh my God,
it's every night. We don't know. We have no idea. That's the thrill of it for me,
I mean, you are out on the furthest limb. It's incredible.
Right. And then if they don't laugh, I just scream at them. So that's good. So before once you have this, I don't know how, but somewhere in Columbus Circle, you meet this guy named Jordan Richard.
Thank you. Richard.
Richard. And this is the guy you dated. Well, for a very short time. He went to Baylor. He was two years younger than you. So apparently you were robbing the cradle. He's
about 8 months younger.
Oh, he graduated 2 years after you.
That's right, because he came to New York and finished his degree up here because he's like, why would I go back to Baylor when I now work for Good Morning America?
Right. Yes, he is a news producer, director. He's fascinating also as well. Okay, so Jordan Richard, who is very handsome. So how did you meet him at Columbus Circle? Like what the hell?
Yeah. I mean, we knew the other was in town. And I was sitting down with Bailey Varnes of my graduate program, and we were having lunch.
These names are fucking. I think this podcast has the best names of any podcast I've done in the last 7 years. Go ahead.
That's the highest honor. I have many more. If you would like to. Yeah. Bailey and I were sitting there, and then walks Jordan and his daddy, and it was, we walk away and Bailey's like, why aren't you with him? And Jordan walks away and his dad said, why aren't you dating her? And I think it was 8 months later, we were probably close to engaged because I knew him. He was my friend.
Right. But you just said, hey, and that was it. It was just like, hi, nice to see you and blah.
I mean, I remember in grad school, when I was still in grad school, Jordan texted me this text that said like, 54 Big Apple countdown, 54 days, and I was like, he's paying attention. But I also was not, and he and I, we've talked about this endlessly to his chagrin. I wasn't that into him. I'm like, you cannot handle me. You can't.
Oh my God. You
are from Dallas. You can't. Ultimately, I'm sure it was a deep insecurity of saying, I am too much as a human being. I'm just way too much as a human. And I really don't think that I'm willing to expose these.
That's all you. That's all your insecurity.
You're right.
Oh, 100%. And not wanting to be vulnerable, and wanting to have the upper hand.
Judy, The fear of being vulnerable after walking the path that
Right.
I just described to you. There is no space for that.
Right.
You better suck it up and be tough as a boot.
Right.
So that process of softening, I think for any person getting into a relationship is, the process of unlearning your knee-jerk.
Right. Because it all comes out and you're like, oh shit, I don't want to do that. Thank you so much for listening to part 1 of Kill Me Now with the one and only, the incredible talent, Elizabeth A. Davis. What a great person. Kill Me Now is produced by Laura Vogel. It's edited by Colin Schmaling. And everything else to do with this podcast in my life is accomplished by Brittany Jo Sowards, also known as Brittany Jo Sowards, who is married. If you like the show, please subscribe, leave a review, please, 5 stars. That way I can keep doing this, but it's getting a little more difficult as the weeks go on. So please subscribe and leave a review. The more reviews and subscriptions we have, the better it is for the life of this podcast. And I would give that review, I'd give a 5-star review. By the way, my Uber review, my Uber review, whatever number is 4.5. Okay. And when I get a driver that has a 4.5, I'm like, oh shit. So maybe that's why they're not like picking me up in the exact spot that I asked for. And have you noticed that Lyft is so fucking expensive, even though I have a 4.9 on Lyft? Anyway, who cares? So it's summertime, which means you're going to be reading at the beach. No better book to read than Yes, I Can Say That. When They Come for the Comedians, We're All in Trouble, written by yours truly. Audiobook is also great. As I mentioned, I am performing. I will be performing this tonight, which is Tuesday night, and Wednesday night, so that's July 5th and 6th at the Art House in Provincetown, Massachusetts. I'm there all through the summer. I can't speak, apparently. And, other random places. You'll check out my website, judygold.com, where it has my calendar, and you can check where I'm going to be. And then you have the Twitter and the Instagram, and I'm going to do more TikToks. Everyone keeps asking me to do more TikToks, at Judy Gold, JEWDYGOLD. And listen, not been a great few weeks for the country. And I'm angry. I'm sad. We have to fight. Fight. The Supreme Court fucking sucks. They suck so bad. They are a partisan, hack, bullshit, Christian, fascist. Like, I really don't understand that motherfucker, really did a job on this country. So happy July 4th. It's really upsetting. But you know what? We have fought, and we have to continue to fight, and that pendulum better swing the other way, because it's not good. It's not good. Yeah, so that's that. And you're all very attractive. I just want to say that. Whoever's listening till the end, I love you. I love you. I mean, can you fucking believe this crap? Can you? It's unbelievable. I just, you fight and fight. You're so thrilled. And then, Clarence fuckhead Thomas, ruins your whole life. And his cunto wife, Ginny, and that fucking Amy Cunto Barrett and Brett Cunto Kavanaugh and Cunto Neil Cunto Gorsuch. Oh, ugh. Sam Cunto Alito. Ugh. Anyway, here's a positive. Ketanji Brown Jackson. What a, just the best. The best. That's a bright spot. I'm trying to be positive. It's not working. Anyway, I love you all. Thank you for listening. Do I have anything else to tell you? Not really. I hope you have a great week. Wear sunscreen. And as we always say, so long.